How's it going, everyone? It's Adam Corcoran with another episode of 3 at 3. Today, I have Howard Frankel. Howard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Howard, you are a reverse mortgage specialist. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what does that mean?
Well, I've had a long career in financial services, spent my life before retirement in the tech world, retired and was not a good golfer. And if you live in Florida, you know it's required by law that you play golf.
Right.
So I reinvented myself many, many years ago in the investment advisory world. And today I'm happy to be able to represent a widely misunderstood product called a reverse mortgage. So I think of myself as an educator. I think of myself as someone who is a consultant to a senior who's thinking about ways to plan for the future.
I like that. I mean, education's key at all aspects of life, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people think of education, they think of their younger years or college, what have you. And I'm a true believer that if you're not learning, you're not growing or really preparing yourself for planning. So let's dig deep into reverse mortgage. We've heard a lot of things about reverse mortgages. Can you tell me exactly what it does and how it can support someone who is aging?
Yep. So a reverse mortgage is no different than a regular mortgage that each of us has had throughout our lives, with the exception that this product is only available to those that are 62 and over. Payments on the mortgage are optional. It includes a line of credit feature that, if established at a young age, that line of credit grows year over year over year, giving someone access to a larger amount of their own home equity that they wouldn't otherwise have. So for someone that doesn't need access today, this provides a path down the road when there's a life event. In the case of home care, the sudden illness, and then the need to pay that monthly expense, either pulling it out of their portfolio, right? Not something you want to do when the stock market is down, or some other means of payment. So, and then the other part of a reverse mortgage that's different from a regular mortgage is that it's non-recourse, which means, unlike any other mortgage, you never can owe more than the value of your home. So if you get into a situation where you need access to funds, let's say you're in a cognitive or an Alzheimer's type event, and you're going to have many years of care,
right?
You may accumulate a lot of interest over time through your reverse mortgage, and then we might be hit with a real estate crash down the road. And then you go to sell your home, or you've passed away, and your family goes to sell your home. You're only responsible for the amount up to the value of your home at that time. That is a significant difference from any other mortgage product out there, whether it's for seniors or for non-seniors. So the reverse mortgage has had an interesting past over many years. I would call it a checkered past. Years back, there weren't many consumer protection provisions that would protect, let's say, the scenario of somebody who takes out a mortgage and then gets married, and then that person who took out the reverse mortgage passes away. Well, in the past, that person left behind had no rights to stay in the home. So you have this ugly scenario where that person has to vacate the home is sold, right? Those stories are never forgotten. Those stories are retold over and over. Sure. Well, that was done away with in 2014. So that person would have every legal right today to stay in that home. So that's been fixed. Years back, we spend our whole lives, we have to qualify for things, right? So our mortgages, we have to qualify for our mortgage. We buy a car, we have to qualify for a car loan. Years ago, there was no qualification process for a reverse mortgage. So people who were unable to meet their current expenses took out a reverse mortgage, and lo and behold, they couldn't meet their current expenses. So what happened? You don't pay your county taxes, your property taxes. County comes and takes your house, forecloses. So now we have something called financial assessment, where you have to qualify and show you can pay your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, your association fees. It's easier to qualify, but you still have to jump over those gates. So as a result, because we have more suited seniors getting these mortgages, the default rate and the foreclosure rate has dropped.
Right. So it sounds like with the regulations and more, I guess, appropriate arrangements, it's really debunking the myth of how a reverse mortgage is really a scam. I mean, and we've heard that in seminars before and stuff like that. And it's like, people just aren't really educated. So it's encouraging to hear that regulation and vetting process has been put in place. And you said back in 2014?
2014, they layered on a series of requirements, including a new spouse or partner being able to stay in the home, financial assessment qualification and such. It's interesting. I would say a third of my clients never even withdraw funds with their reverse mortgage. Whereas years ago, everybody withdrew funds.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. The whole point was to pull money out to use those funds for some purpose, right? Or pay off your mortgage. So today, as a planning function, seniors are taking out reverse mortgages for the sole purpose of establishing a permanent line of credit that can't go away. So when you have that bad day with that sudden expense that may be an ongoing expense, you have a mechanism in place to draw from.
Right.
That's a huge difference.
I would assume that not a lot of people would think of it from that perspective. Super interesting. Super interesting.
Yeah, financial advisors have finally caught on that this is a planning tool. They've also caught on that if their client starts drawing from their investment portfolio, that portfolio might not survive the lifespan of that client.
Well, and in speaking with that, it's going to lead me to my next question, is really about longevity of our aging population. We do several seminars in a month's time talking about people are living longer, right? So can you address that about, are people really planning appropriately? Because on a swing of, about 20 years, we're living on average anywhere between 6 and 8 years longer. So what does that look like for the future?
Right. So, in the past, somebody might retire at 65 and unfortunately they might have been deceased within 5 years. They died at 70, low 70s, right? So their retirement assets didn't have to last a long time.
Right.
Now you can add a couple of decades to that time span. So the problem is we typically retire and have one asset that's accessible to us. That's our retirement account, our 401k, our investments, right? And some cash. So that only goes so far. But we're sitting in a home that might not have any mortgage, that might be worth $600,000 or $700,000 or $200,000. And that equity is sitting there unable to do anything to help out that homeowner, that senior. So what we do is we kind of release that equity. We provide the ability to say, hey, you may not be able to survive financially for your entire life. So as a planning tool, if you are planning to stay in this home, and that's key, you're gonna, based on what you know today, if you're gonna stay in this home, take out an FHA insured reverse mortgage that has a line of credit that will grow year after year so that you have access to not only your portfolio, your retirement account, but you have access to funds for any purpose. You might need to make home modifications so that it's safer and more accessible in that house, right? If you have a line of credit open, you don't have to sell an ETF, a mutual fund, or some stocks when the stock market has declined 30% to pay for that work to be done in that home. So with the right planning, this is a nice strategic tool for someone who's trying to ensure financial longevity.
Right. And that those monies, as you mentioned, can be paid for care, home modifications. So are there any limitations to what those funds can be used for?
There are no limitations. As I mentioned, you can open up a reverse mortgage and take zero out. Or you might say, I want to pay off my mortgage and I want to have that monthly mortgage payment because I'm a little strapped. So we can pay off the mortgage. That will increase cash flow, right? You're not making that payment. I have clients that, when Hurricane Irma came through, people who were underinsured or had a large deductible suddenly had a large expense to pay for a roof, or they thought perhaps that's the time to purchase shutters or make home improvements so they can stay in the house during or after an event like that. So you have lump sum needs that come up, over time. You have ongoing expenses of a home. You have sudden monthly expenses. Clients that have 24/7 home care. I had a client. She's since passed away. By all definitions, she should have gone to assisted living. Told by every family member that's what she should have done. She was a tough lady. I was convinced she had a handgun under the table when I met with her. She was pretty feisty, and all she wanted to do was stay in that house. So we funded her care 24/7 using the proceeds of the reverse mortgage line of credit. She got what she wanted and didn't have to listen to what other people had to say.
Right. It gives people that freedom to have those options.
That's right.
I love it. Love it. All right. So my last question is really not related to the financial world or home care space, but quarantine 2020. Have you picked up any new hobbies, any new interests being home all this time?
Oh, that's really interesting. So I'll tell you what I have picked up. I have picked up a habit of watching less news and clearly more Netflix.
There you go.
the family motto is less news, more entertainment.
Love it.
And we bought an elliptical trainer so we can do some exercise in the house. You're pretty limited when my wife is immune compromised and I have asthma. So we're the last people that want to be walking around town exposing ourselves. So at the same time, you have to stay mentally fit, right? So for me, my work, which I can do home-based, gives me a great outlet and keeps me occupied. I give myself exposure to 30 minutes a day of news across all spectrums, and that is it.
It's good. And probably keeps you sane.
Well, as sane as you can be in the world we're living in, But I get to help people. I'll give you an example. I have a client on the East Coast of Florida. She has 24/7 care. I'm dealing with her daughter who has power of attorney. We went to do an appraisal on the home, and the home, which is oceanfront, so it's a high value home, is in disrepair. Family members have not been there in years. They live out of the area. Nobody is serving in a property management function. So, they don't have contacts for contractors. So part of, what I did was help identify some contractors 200 miles away that could come in and make those repairs. So, what we do in our world of, finance, reverse mortgages is not simply pushing paper. Right. There's a problem. Clearly, nobody was paying attention to the property other than she's getting care 24/7. So, that's a great way to fulfill or to fill part of your day.
Right. And being a resource to people is really the reason why we lift our head off the pillow, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Kudos to you for doing that. Well, Howard, thank you for being with us today. If someone want to get a hold of you to learn a little bit more about reverse mortgages in detail in their personal scenario, how would they get a hold of you?
They can go to my website at 62onup.com, or they can call me at 239-206-3650.
Awesome. Well, I'll put that information here in the post, and I'm hopeful that people who are interested in learning a little bit more will reach out. Awesome.
Great. Thanks.
Well, Howard, I appreciate your partnership, and I enjoy and continue working with you. If there's anything that we can do for you, let us know.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care. All right. I'll just cut it off there.